of that stupid thing. We take our little stub. We don't have a heart to throw it away, so we put it in a box, right? And then we put it in the second box, and the third box, and the fourth box, and then we run out of space, but we still don't want to throw them away. Some of us have the luxury to burn them, well, some of us don't. So I was looking for, get rid of my boxes of this, something to do with it. And yeah, bottle stoppers, everybody makes bottle stoppers. My daughter came to me and said, I want earrings. Okay, I'll make you earrings. So I started looking in how to make jewelry out of wood. And I came across an interesting product that actually, the same people that sell these bottle stoppers, Niles, they sell this kit. It calls an offset jig, and it's specially designed for small things like jewelry, pendants, little tops for the boxes, and all kinds of this fun little tiny stuff. So I went and bought it. And it's a lot of fun to play with. It's fairly inexpensive. I bought the whole kit because I don't know what I was getting. The whole thing costed me like $100 for the whole thing. And they do sell everything separate, so if you don't want to get involved and buy the whole thing, you can just buy whatever piece you want. So this thing comes with the mandrel, which is the same as the bottle stopper mandrel, just 3/8/16. You can turn your bottle stoppers on it. If you already have one, you can use it. Then it also comes with this little nice round plate. I don't know if you guys can see. It's got 10 holes that's offsetted off the center. There's one in the middle, and there's 9 more that's offsetted off the center. They number, and this, what this does, this allows you to mount your work off-center without any modification, special jigs, or anything else. What I really like about the fact is that you can remount it in the same position every time. So when I made this first set that I ever made for my daughter, which was she asked for, I made a set of earrings and a pendant, and they came out the same because I used the same setup for all 3, just different sizes, which is kind of hard to do if you're going to make some kind of jig yourself, because the repeatability is not there. So, I mean, this thing's a lot of fun to play with. That's what I've been turning for the past 2 months, just because. Now, what this also comes with is the secondary plate that has 20 holes on the outside of it, which match to this set of holes here. What that allows you to do is to rotate it this way in any position you want, plus it allows you to offset it double. So things like this, where you have a bottom cut and a top cut, which is the same but 180 degrees, is really easy to do this way. Because you mount one this way, you mount another one this way, you write down which numbers you put your screws in, and it'll come out the same every time. So you can make hundreds of this, and they're all going to be the same, and the setup is just done for you. So I kind of really like it. Now, this plate is also allowing you to put a regular 3/8 countersink screw right in the middle of it, sandwich those 2 things together, offset it, and then turn a bottle stopper that looks like this. So, you mount this just like any bottle stopper that you would make. And then you turn your true diameter, then you offset it, and you make your shape. And it's as simple as that. Now, also comes with these 3 little buttons. This is 2 inches, 1 inch, and a 1/2 inch. I went and glued a piece of wood to it, just because when I'm drilling my center hole for a chain or a lanyard or whatever, I don't want to drill into the aluminum, because it tends to pull the wood out of the fixture. So this way I just drill into the sacrificial plate. It's double-sided, it's 8 pound, and I destroy them, I throw them away, I put another one on. Now, this will go in on this face. this will go in on the back face. This allows you to do some very dramatic and major offset turning, because now you got this really big space. So you can get really creative with these things. So, in the spirit of making jewelry, we're going to make one of these today. Okay? So we're going to start by putting this mantle onto the lid. I'm going to use my 2-inch centerpiece. When you do your first initial turning, just to square up your part and make it round, you have to start from the center to the center. So the screw in a screw doesn't work really well. So it comes with a little spacer, just to offset the diameter a little bit. So this is how it's intended to be set up. Turners laid on, spins very true. So let's put a piece of wood up. Let's see what we got. This is a little cutoff of something glued up I had. Actually, it's the same as this guy. I have no idea what this was, but we're going to use it. Okay, best way to put this on that I found so far, double-sided tape. Turner's tape, I've used this brand, spec tape. I have never failed me once. This stuff isn't cheap, but it lasts a long time because we don't use much of it, so why not? So this is 1-inch tape. We got a 2-inch diameter, so we're gonna do on this. Should cut a bigger piece. And we're gonna do on this. Now, to me, the hardest part of this whole project is peeling this stupid tape. It just This thing does not like me. We fight every time, and the tape wins most of the times. So bear with me for a second. Oh, see, this wasn't so bad. There we go. The first thing we're going to turn is the back of our piece. We're going to turn the back of our piece, we're going to finish it, and we're not going to touch it again because once we flip it over and remount it, and the second piece is going to be our final. So don't worry about getting this sound perfect because we're going to chew it up anyways. Now what this tape allows you to do is you gently put it on without a lot of pressure. You can see how true you're running. And then you can reposition and remount, get it better. Maybe. This extra tip. That's better. So, a little bit of pressure. This actually should be good enough for it to hold already, but I do like to take my tailstock knock the center off of it and give it just a little squeeze just to make sure this tape sits on it, and when we chew it up, it's always a good idea to have a tailstock on. Okay. Grab your favorite tool. Doesn't matter what you use, whatever it is you're comfortable with, and make that thing round. Now you don't have to make it round. If you want to make an odd shape, it's up to you. But We're gonna handle it. Okay. That's right. So let's move our tail stuff out of the way. Get the center out of it so I don't keep my elbow in it. So now we're gonna face it. Maybe you don't have to worry about the thickness just yet, because once you flip it and start working on the face of it, you can finalize the thickness of the part then. But really important, when you work on the back of your part, you're gonna double-sided tape back on it. So it has to be fairly flat or a little bit concave, just a hair. Now, if it looks like a dish, the tape is not gonna hold just the center of it, it will fall. So you gotta pay attention to, I try to keep them as straight as I can, just, you know, I try. Here. Look pretty. Grab yourself a straight edge, a tool. See, I dished it in a little bit, and I think it's a little too much, so now the tape is only going to hold it on the edge. Hi, Pam.
Hey.
So I'm going to do a little better, try to get this a little more square.
Talk about the speed you're turning at. Is that personal preference, the speed you're
At the
going?
moment, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Whatever you're comfortable with, depending on the tool you're going to turn, the speed's going to change.
Okay.
So whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, ideally is you want to speed it as fast as you can,
Yep.
but I'm not comfortable on this little tiny blade because mine is a monster. That I can crank up. This one, and it's on wheels, so it kind of walks away. You see that? Igor, so let me switch the tool up a little bit. Let me see if I can get a little bit more massive tool set. Oh, I'm happy. Okay, so at this stage, you want to sand this, finish it, get it, put your final finish on it, make this your final product on this side. So I was actually smart enough, and I brought some sandpaper. So I'm not going to go through all the grades, but we'll do 320 and 400, just because I don't want to create a lot of dust. And we're gonna leave it just like this. Now, you guys gotta put your favorite finish on it, whatever it is. It's irrelevant, however you like, whatever you wanna make your piece looks like. I brought two things that I use for things like this. This is fairly new thing I discovered not too long ago, Doctor's Woodshop Pens Plus. This thing is amazing. It's fast and it's great. The other one is Dr. Kirk's Scratch Free. This is a wax product that has a little bit of grit in it, and this will final sand your product. This stuff is good because you can actually put your final finish over this. Just about every finish out there will cut this. So,
Jump straight to success. Right?
It's because I complained about my tape so much. Now I get to do it like 7 extra times. Spin your piece, make sure you don't eat nothing. Let me trim this off real fast. And then this one turns much nicer. I didn't get any better in the past 30 seconds. It turns much nicer. Let me drop my tool rest a little bit lower so I can get in closer to the tailstock. Remove some more of this material. Usually I would just part this in half and make 2 pieces out of it, but for the sake of it, I'll just thin it out. Whoops. Oh, I'm not having a good time with this thing. However you're gonna accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, it's kind of irrelevant, right? So we're going to get rid of the tailstock and get rid of this little knob. Actually, before we do that, I can actually cut this off a little bit. Some pressure off of this. Okay. Tailstock a little closer to the work. Drop it a little lower. That's it. Put on the surface one more time, and we're going to call it done. Okay. This was the hardest one I ever made. Okay, so our next step on this process, we're going to put in a hole for a lanyard. Cop out a little bit. This hole is off center, and I think it just looks nicer because it's closer to the edge, so that's what we do. So this is where this whole system really comes into play.
And who makes this system again?
Niles bottle stoppers, the same people that make this bottle stoppers, Root Niles, they on their website they sell this. I don't know exactly who makes them, but they sell this.
Harold Jacobson owns a company now. They're made
Yeah.
in the United States.
That's right.
By an American company. And it is the best, at least their bottle stopper is supposed to be.
The bottle stoppers, I
stainless
only
steel.
buy theirs.
Yeah.
It's the best. Now they're the only people that I've ever seen that sells these guys,
Yes,
the bottle
that's an
openers.
exception.
I love those things.
Yeah, I really like that.
This bottle openers to me is the best thing they ever made. Okay, so I'm not going to take this off. I'm just going to take the whole thing out and I'm going to reposition myself to a hole number 2. I'm going to do the rest of my turning on that hole number 2. This allows me to do is to do this. See that? This lathe is a little small and shaky and wobbly, so we're going to work with what we got. I like to use my pencil and stick a point where my center is at, just so I can shut off the lathe and take a look at it. Can you guys see? No, you guys can't see.
This was on my list for a while.
So my drilled hole will be here,
Yeah.
right? So now it's about halfway between the edge and the part. I'm going to put it back to that same hole number 2 I was at. I'm going to bring in my tool rest. I'll get closer to this hole because that's where actually the center of my part is. I'm going to draw some circle lines. This circle, I'm going to dish this out, cut this out, and make this look like a little dish. I think it looks nicer. I don't know. It's not necessary, but this is just design I know. Now, all the rest of my rings that I have on this part, I'm going to continue using the same setup. So if I'm going to start cutting here, what I'm going to have, I'm going to have my cut, and it's going to fall off, and we'll go right back up. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's it. It's also distance. You guys see? So all the same setup. Now I'm going to take this off, I'm going to put it back, and it's going to be the same spot every time. And that's kind of hard to do if you do this yourself. You can certainly make these offsets things yourself out of wood and everything, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. Plus, on their website, there is an Excel spreadsheet that will allow you to draw this before you make them. You can actually go select the number of holes you're going to position, and it'll draw a pattern of what it's going to look like when you're done.
Right.
So it will allow you to pre-plan and then save it and print it if you like the design, so you can repeat it 5 years from now. Okay, but let's drill a hole. I'm going to grab a drill bit. I don't care what size it is because it's just going to have a lanyard in it. Now, use metal drill bits. Do not use wood brad points. Drill bits, they got a real sharp long point. You're going to poke right through it. You're going to get into the aluminum. You cannot drill aluminum with it. It's going to force your drill bit back at you. It's going to pop off that tape. And guess how I learned that? Use a metal working bit. All you're trying to do is go through a real thin piece of wood. Doesn't matter. You can use a chuck in your tailstock. Drill out the hole however you like. I went to Amazon, and for a whole $20, I bought myself this. This is a handle that has a 3/8 chuck on the front handle. So you put a drill bit in it, tie this up, now you have a drill. So for something like this, I'm not bothering with this whole complicated setup. Let's start my blade. Get close. And I'll open them all. And that's all there is to it. This is very highly recommended. Very easy. Don't grab a drill with a pair of pliers. There's no need for that. Don't buy one of those. You know what I'm talking about. You've done it.
Now, what I first started out with, someone gave me was a half-inch drill bit where you put on a handle just to start your hole.
Yeah.
And instead of just taking a 3/4-inch drill, put it in the chuck and, drill a hole or get one with more taper. That's the first time I ever saw one like that. You just took a handle and, just to start the hole so you don't get that nip when you turn it.
That's right. Okay, so I have my hole done. I'm going to do a little cup where I have my sensors drawn, just make it pretty. All of this stuff is cosmetic, so. Now, one thing I gotta say. This is turning off center. It's very hard to see. Try not to put your hands behind your tool rest. You think you're away, you're not. It'll come hit you hard, because, I mean, you should turn this as fast as you possibly can. This little lathe can't handle it because it shakes too much. And the big lathe, I'll dig this up to 3,000 RPM. You put your fingers next to that, it will hurt.
Yep.
Try to stay on the proper side of the tool rest. You know, this tool rest is set up now, anyway it spins, it's on the opposite side of it, so as long as I keep my hands on the front side of the tool rest, I know I'm okay. Okay. Now, our next step is to put the rings in. I use rings for the fact is that I bought this jewelry beading tool. This thing is great. It's nice
Yeah.
and it's decorative and it makes a really nice pretty beads on it. You don't have to worry about it. This thing is so little, I don't even put a handle on it. This is my handle, this is enough. You don't need a lot of force to cut this with. And this thing is probably a year and a half old. I've never sharpened it because I'm not sure how. And it still cuts really good.
He said that one was also, and he said when you sharpen it, just take it up to the wheel and just touch it. Just touch the wheel real quick.
This thing is over a year old. I don't, it cuts good,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna mess with it.
I mean, that's how he said to sharpen.
Yeah. Okay, so now the way this cuts. Now we're gonna start cutting and we're gonna go off center. So we're gonna cut some here. When you get here, there's nothing to cut. Try not to push your tool into the work too much because, I mean, I can't get this thing fast enough, but it may catch. I don't think it will. Just be gentle with going inwards. Doesn't need a lot of pressure, take your time. It'll take a little bit longer, but I mean, I think it'll be worth it. You want to keep your tool rest just a hair below center. Now remember, you're turning off center. Your center is not in the center of the part. Your center right now where the hole is. So you got to align your tool rest with that new center. You guys see what I'm doing? So, let's see how it goes. I'm going to try to crank this up as fast as I can. Start where you want to start, just gently go in. My leg is walking away. If you start looking at your rings, right, it cuts a groove on one side, cuts a groove on the other side, and it's supposed to give you a full radius on the front face. So if you still see a flat on the front face, that means you haven't gone deep enough. You don't want to go too deep because this thing actually has a limit it won't let you. You can try to force this as much as you can and it'll stop cutting. But look at the face, if it has a flat spot, that means you haven't gone deep enough. Good most of the way. It's got a little flat spot on that side. I gotta blame it on me not making that thing perfectly straight. But I'm gonna try to make it pretty. You can make these rings as often as you want, as spread them apart as much as you want. I like to stick them right next to one another. Just I think it looks good, and that's all there is to it. All aesthetics purposes. The further you go away from the center, the less cutting you actually do, the faster your ring will emerge. So you gotta be careful not to overdo it. You hear it starts knocking? I'm pushing a little too far, too fast. So I gotta slow down a little bit because I can't get the RPMs as high as I'd like to. It's kind of fighting me a little bit. get close to the end of this, it becomes a little bit hard to see where you're actually cutting because you can't see most of the wood anyways. So I tend to stop quite often and look at it. So right now I got another halfway to go.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
I'm trying to, we have time, but it looked like you were using the tool upside down, or is it just the way?
This is how you're supposed to use this tool.
See. Yeah, see, that's what I thought you were doing,
Yeah.
but I thought it was this way
Ah.
because,
No,
well, that's the,
no, I
Absolutely
do
not.
it the other
it
way.
was worth the trip today.
See?
But I mean, but when he told me to sharpen it, the way he said sharpen it like this.
To sharpen it, yes, because you can't sharpen the curve,
Right.
sharpen the flat spot. When you cut it, it's with this little two points.
Yeah, no, I know that.
So,
Well, no, I wasn't cut it that way, but I
of course,
understand.
yeah.
I'll be, well, thank you, thank you both. Wow.
Nah, that's good.
Huh.
I'm getting real close to the edge, so I'm going to stop again. See, I got a flat spot. I can fit another one in there, and that's it. That's all it's going to be. So now all the rings are done. There you go. This wood is kind of soft, it left me a little raggedy edge. I'm going to put a little bit of sandpaper on and clean this off. But if you're using a little bit harder wood like this thing, the edges came crisp and perfect, and I didn't have to do anything with it. I'm blaming it on the wood. Now, turning is almost done. I don't like this cup a little bit because it's sticking up above a little bit. I'm just going to come in and clean this up just a hair. And then we're going to reposition this back and we're going to send it and get it finished. Drop the tool just a hair lower. Good. I like this. Okay, so final step. Let's sand this, let's finish this. We're going to sand this in two different steps. The center cup, we're going to sand the way it is. The whole piece, we're going to put it back into zero and sand up because you can't sand this off center, it'll just send your fingers off. Don't do that. I normally would go through all my grids, but for the sake of time, we're going to cheat a little. Slow it down if you like. I know a lot of people like to sand slow. I personally prefer to sand as fast as I can sand them.
Which way is that?
I'm sorry?
Which way is that?
3 to 1. Now I'm only working on the little center section. 400. That's it. I got sandpaper from 80 to 800, but I normally would do it. Today I won't. This tool is really, really good and leaves your surface nice and clean. You don't ever have to sand the surface. If you pre-sand it a little bit before you start cutting, you cut it, and you have nothing to worry about. So let me remount this. Put the center piece back in. edges are a little bit jagged and I actually want to remove some material, I'm going to use something like 150. Just going to kill that sharp edge. That's all I'm doing. Yeah. Why not? So 150, 220, 320, 400. Now 600, I'm going to do the edge and the whole face because it's not removing any material really, just taking the dust off. And then for everybody else it's 800, which is a little excessive. Okay, we can put finish on this. Let's try this. I'm gonna explain why I like that so much. I'm not the type of guy who's gonna put a finish on the part and then wait 2 days and put a second coat and then wait 2 more days. I don't have the patience or the time. It's all about instant gratification. I'll start the project, I want to finish it. So you gotta shake this stuff really, really good because you got the settlement on the bottom. It just sits on the shelf table. Get a little dab, and while the lid is off, put the finish on. Turn the lid on, make it fast, drop this off. The curing time of this finish is 30 minutes. The curing to the touch and applying the second coat time of this finish is 15 seconds. This is already dry. This is ready for the second coat. So, I usually do, for something a little bit shiny, about 3 to 4. If I want something really, really shiny, I'll do 7. But 7 coats of this takes like 6 minutes to do. This finish is good to the touch, about 15 seconds. It's fully cured and hard in about 30 minutes. I like it. Now for the fun part. Take your piece off the lathe, preferably without a stroke. Which is done. Put a little chain on it, put a little lanyard on it, make a set, sell it for $30. That's all I got to show you guys today.
All right.